a generation of retirees sold everything for Sunbelt dreams, only to be blindsided by $11,000 in insurance bills, homeowners association fines that read like parking tickets, and forever homes now boxed in by crowds and rules. In the past 3 years, tens of thousands quietly reversed course, leaving Florida and Arizona for overlooked towns most of us cannot even name. Why are classic retirement capitals, once the safest bet in America, now losing their most cautious residents? And what do these forgotten places offer that the brochures never mention? If you are searching for financial breathing room and real peace, and not just a slogan, subscribe to Hidden Undercurrent and let us dig into where the dream cracked and where it actually holds. Home prices. In the classic retirement metros have sprinted far ahead of most fixed incomes. In Sarasota, the median condo now sells for more than $450,000, up nearly 40% since 2021. In Phoenix, median home prices crossed $500,000 in 2024, and rents in popular areas have jumped 50 to 70%. Even those who thought they had bought security are getting blindsided. Property taxes in Florida, coastal counties, rose 15%, and the everyday cost of groceries and utilities often runs 10 to 20% above the national average during peak season. But the real gut punch comes in the mailbox. Insurance premiums in Florida average $11,000 a year, the highest in the country. After Hurricane Ian, more than 1 million policies were dropped or not renewed as insurers left the market. Coastal Texas is not far behind, with premiums doubling since 2022. One renewal letter can turn a stable budget into a crisis. For many, the only option left is the state insurer of last resort, which covers less and costs more. Then come the association fees. In Florida, nearly 2/3 of all for sale properties are under homeowners association or condo rules. Since 2022, median fees have shot up 68%, from $232 to $390 a month, with some condos now demanding $700 to $1,000 more each month, just for reserves and insurance. New state laws passed after the Surfside collapse require full funding for building repairs. No more kicking the can. Special assessments of $20,000 or more are not rare, and unpaid dues can mean liens or foreclosure. Take the composite couple. They sold a $300,000 Midwest home and bought a $450,000 condo on the Florida coast in 2022. By the next year, their insurance bill had tripled to $8,000. Homeowners association fines stacked up over a pickup truck in the driveway, and their monthly fees climbed past $500. The annual renewal packet reads like a novella. Every chapter ends with a new charge. Within 2 years, they were forced to list the condo, hoping to break even. For retirees on a fixed income, these costs are not just numbers, they are the difference between staying and packing up again. The dream of affordable, carefree living is being rewritten by bills that never stop arriving. Seasonal crowds have turned once quiet retirement towns into year-round tourist hubs. In places like Sarasota, Phoenix, and coastal Texas, local population numbers can swell by 20 to 30% during peak months. Grocery bills climb quietly, and everyday services carry a tourist premium. Stores may raise prices by 10 to 20%, and haircuts, car repairs, and other basics often cost more than they did back home. The couple who moved south for peace now find themselves recalculating the grocery budget and waiting in lines that seem to stretch on forever. Traffic is relentless. Highways designed for summer visitors now clog with bumper-to-bumper congestion most of the year. Short-term rentals have multiplied, with platforms like Airbnb and Vrbo pushing up both rents and noise. A neighbor today might be a bachelor party, a family reunion, or a rotating parade of vacationers who never learn your name. For retirees, the constant churn erases any real sense of community. Rules have multiplied as quickly as the crowds. Homeowners associations in these retirement zones have become notorious for policing the smallest details. Residents have received warning letters for garden gnomes, for mailbox flags, or for a pickup truck parked the wrong way. One homeowners association in Florida fined residents $100 per day for leaving a hose in view. In another case, a couple was cited for growing tomatoes instead of ornamental shrubs. What was sold as a low-maintenance lifestyle now feels like living under a microscope. Healthcare, once a major selling point, is feeling the squeeze. In Florida, average clinic wait times have grown by 40% since 2019. Simple appointments can take weeks. Walk-in clinics are often full by mid-morning, and the nearest emergency room might be a 40-minute drive, assuming traffic is not at a standstill. The same story repeats in Arizona and the Carolinas, where high retiree concentrations have stretched local hospitals thin. For people with chronic conditions, the delay between need and care becomes a steady source of anxiety. These layers of tourist pricing, endless traffic, relentless rules, and overburdened clinics chip away at the lifestyle retirees were promised. The dream of sunny freedom now comes with a surcharge, a citation, and a waitlist. For many, the only thing that feels unlimited anymore is the background: stress. The question becomes, what does it really mean to live free, and where can that promise still hold up against the pressures of modern retirement? Living free is not a slogan, it is a checklist. For retirees weighing their next move, 4 pillars stand between a life on edge and a life that actually fits. The first is financial breathing room. That means a place where Social Security, maybe a small pension, and a little savings can cover the basics: housing, utilities, groceries, and a car, without the math feeling like a monthly emergency. In practical terms, it is the difference between watching every dollar and having a little left at the end of the month. Next comes the question of invisible rules. In many hot states, the fine print runs your life, with homeowners associations, zoning, and a parade of small restrictions that decide what you can park, plant, or build. Living free means towns where you are not fined for a garden or a tool shed, where a small RV in the driveway does not bring a letter, and where the rules are not written for a resort brochure. It is not lawlessness. It is a return to common sense about what matters in a neighborhood. The third pillar is lower background stress. That is not just about crime rates or noise, though both matter. It is about the daily temperature of life. Less traffic, fewer strangers cycling through short-term rentals, and a pace where people know your name at the post office. In these places, the loudest thing on a Tuesday afternoon might be a lawnmower or a screen door, not a siren or a crowd. Finally, there is basic resilience. No town is disaster-proof, but some places do not stack risks on top of each other. The goal is at least one good hospital within reach, some local food and water security, and a setting where a single storm or market swing does not wipe out your sense of safety. Here, resilience means you can handle a bad winter or a power outage without your whole life unraveling. Those are the 4 pillars: financial breathing room, fewer invisible rules, lower background stress, and basic resilience. Every town on the forgotten map gets measured against them. The next step is seeing where in real life the math and the mood actually pass the test. A fixed income offers little room for surprises. For most retirees, Social Security averages $1,800 a month. The checklist starts simple. Can you rent a safe, modest place for under $900? In the hot states, that number is now a fantasy. Rents in retirement metros often top $1,600, and anything cheaper comes with a waiting list or a catch. In the quieter towns scattered across forgotten states, $700 to $900 still gets you a clean one-bedroom or even a small house with utilities rarely breaking $200. Groceries and basic services run 10 to 20% below the national average in many of these places, not above. That extra breathing room matters. Invisible rules are the next test. In the classic dream states, nearly 2/3 of homes for sale are tied to a homeowners association. In the overlooked towns, that figure drops below 30%. Less than 1/3 of listings come with a thick rulebook or monthly dues. And most local codes allow for things like a garden, a backyard shed, or a small RV in the driveway. The difference is not just financial. It is the feeling that you can live like an adult without asking permission for every small choice. Background. Stress is harder to put on a spreadsheet, but the numbers still tell a story. Crime indices in many forgotten state towns sit well below 80 compared to 110 or higher in the crowded metros. Short-term rentals make up less than 10% of the housing stock, so neighbors tend to stick around and learn your name. FEMA hazard maps show that these towns rarely stack multiple risks, and they rarely face hurricanes, wildfires, and floods all at once. Most have at least one full-service hospital within a 20 to 40-minute drive, and the local grocery store is not a 40-minute traffic crawl away. Those small conveniences add up. Run the checklist and a new map quietly appears. Rent under $900, homeowners association coverage under 30% of listings, a crime index under 80, basic hospital access within a reasonable drive, and no stack of disasters. It is not the map on the magazine covers, but it is where the budget and the nerves both pass the test. These are the places where retirees are quietly landing, looking for breathing room and a little less drama. In West Virginia, the reputation is all winding roads and coal dust. But for retirees hunting real breathing room, it is a place where a fixed income can finally keep up. Lewisburg, tucked into the Greenbrier Valley, offers walkable streets lined with old maples and a hospital that is a 3-minute drive from most porches. A solid 2-bedroom house here lists for $120,000 to $180,000, and rents hover between $700 and $900. Groceries and utilities run about 15 to 20% below the national average. Social Security is not taxed, and the state homestead exemption helps shave down property taxes for seniors. In the suburbs around Morgantown, the numbers hold steady. There are modest homes, little pressure from homeowners associations, and a crime index that rarely tops 65. Winters can be sharp, with the occasional ice storm, but most towns avoid the flood-prone hollows. On a typical morning, a retiree might sip coffee on the porch, stroll to the local diner, and end the day fishing along the Greenbrier River. The trade-off is that flights are scarce. Pittsburgh Airport is a 2-hour drive, and winter can stretch on, but the peace and predictability draw people who have had enough of surprises. Arkansas tends to get written off as flyover, yet it quietly checks every box for a certain kind of retiree. In Hot Springs, you will find historic neighborhoods and a Veterans Administration medical center just 10 minutes from the lake. Heber Springs, perched on Greer's Ferry Lake, offers small houses for $115,000 to $170,000 and rents in the $700 range. The cost of living runs 12 to 18% below average. Social Security is exempt from state tax for anyone older than 59 and a half. Homeowners associations are present but less aggressive, about a quarter of listings, and it is common to see a garden or a fishing boat in the driveway. Tornadoes are a reality, but most towns avoid overlapping hazards, and local clinics are within a 15-minute drive. Day-to-day life means morning walks along the lake, afternoons at the community centre, and porch conversations that last until dusk. Humidity can be thick in summer, and the nearest big airport is an hour and a half away. But for those who want simplicity and a bit of elbow room, Arkansas delivers. The freedom here is not flashy, but it stretches every dollar and every quiet evening just a little further. Missouri and Iowa do not usually top anyone's bucket list, but for retirees looking for predictability and calm, they deliver more than their reputation suggests. In Missouri, towns like Cape Girardeau and Kirksville offer a blend of small-town life and real healthcare anchors. Cape Girardeau sits on the Mississippi River with a regional hospital about 10 minutes from most neighborhoods. Kirksville, a college town, has a teaching hospital called Northeast Regional Medical Center, about 3 minutes from the town square. Modest homes in these areas list for $100,000 to $220,000, and rents often come in under $900. The cost of living runs 15 to 22% below the national average, and Social Security is not taxed here. Crime indices are in the high 60s, well below the US metro average, and most neighborhoods have little or no homeowner association oversight. The rhythm of life is steady: breakfast at a diner, a stop at the library, afternoons at the farmer's market, and evening walks where you recognize most faces. Tornado season is a reality, but outside the storm belt, the risks do not stack up the way they do on the coasts. Iowa brings its own version of steady comfort. Decorah, tucked in the northeast, is a college arts town with a hospital 10 minutes from downtown. Clear Lake, a classic Midwest lake town, offers small homes for $120,000 to $210,000 and a cost of living 10 to 20% below average. Social Security is fully exempt from state tax, and property tax relief for seniors is straightforward. Crime indices in these towns sit in the mid-50s, among the lowest in the country, and homeowner associations are rare. A typical day might start with coffee on the porch, a walk to the local bakery, and afternoons volunteering at the community center. Winters can be harsh, with snow measured in feet, and the nearest big airport is a 2-hour drive. But for those who trade sun for stability and freedom, the Midwest offers a kind of freedom that is hard to find elsewhere. If the idea of peace sounds almost too quiet, the next state ups the ante with mountains and more space than neighbors. Wyoming stands apart, a place where wide open spaces and the absence of a state income tax shape daily life. In Sheridan, Lander, and Riverton, retirement means more land, fewer neighbors, and a slower pace. Home prices typically range from $200,000 to $300,000, a step up from the Midwest, but still far from coastal extremes. Living costs come in about 10% below the national average, and with no state income tax, Social Security and pensions stretch further. Here, most homes are free from HOA restrictions, and crime rates hover around 60, offering a sense of security and autonomy. Traffic is minimal, often just a pickup headed toward the Bighorns. Healthcare access is a defining factor. Sheridan Memorial Hospital sits within 10 minutes of most neighborhoods, providing full-service care. For specialized treatment, Billings, Montana is 2 hours away. It is the longest drive among the towns considered. This distance is the price of Wyoming's solitude. Winters are long, with snow measured in feet and supplies requiring forethought. Cultural events are rare, and amenities are limited to small festivals and local gatherings. For those who thrive on city energy or need frequent specialist care, the isolation can outweigh the benefits. 3 exclusion criteria stand out: deep family ties elsewhere, a need for weekly specialist care, or a craving for urban bustle. For some, these are deal breakers. Before any move, a 5-point checklist helps clarify the fit. Can your budget handle a modest home and essentials? Are the rules and taxes straightforward? Will you enjoy the slower rhythm, not just tolerate it? Is healthcare close enough for your needs? Does the promise of peace outweigh the convenience of city life? The answers reveal whether Wyoming's quiet promise is a true opportunity or simply a different kind of risk. Today, the map of retirement is redrawn. In silence, one household at a time. As insurance rates spike and rules multiply in the old hotspots, more retirees seek shelter in places built for living, not just visiting. The freedom to choose stability over spectacle is still out there, hidden but real. Sometimes the best future is found where no one thought to look. Let us know where you would draw your own quiet line.